thank you so much for joining us tonight. News continues now at 6 o'clock with Steve Murphy.
All right, thank you, Amanda and Jason. And now for this Thursday, February 4th. Live and local, this is CTV News at 6. Tonight, up in the air, cases of injuries also jump with new trampoline park.
We're certainly seeing lots more injuries since the trampoline park opened.
Trouble at the youth shelter. Allegations prompt a government rebuttal.
The suggestion that staff are being directed by management to turn the other way and to overlook sexual assault and drug use, that is asinine.
And swim today, shovel tomorrow. Cindy serves up a messy mix of seasons.
We've been given a bit of a break this year. Like I said earlier, we're about 175 centimeters of snow ahead of last year.
Live from our Maritime News Center, this is CTV News. Here is Steve Murphy.
February 4th feels more like March 4th, doesn't it? But good evening, everyone. The spring-like temperatures of today, this midwinter reprieve, it is going to prove pretty short-lived. There is decidedly wintry weather moving in for tomorrow. And here with the latest on
Thursday, February 4th.
Tonight, a case of sexual exploitation.
The social services, the police, everybody working together, that's going to be a priority.
Street gangs are preying on runaways from a Laval group home.
Suspects released.
With the guarantees that we got from the accused, we were fine with conditions.
Some of the accused in a child porn ring are freed while awaiting trial.
And a positive outlook.
That we can make this an opportunity and to take it as a stepping stone.
The business community reacts to the Rona takeover.
CTV News with Mitsumi Takahashi and Paul Karwatsky.
Good evening. A third teenage girl has gone missing in Laval.
And parents are becoming very concerned. Mathilde Geoffroy-Aubé was last seen on Monday. She ran away from a Laval group home, the same one from where two other teenagers ran away. And Tanya, the Quebec government says it is now looking into the issue.
Mitsumi, Quebec's minister responsible for youth protection says it seems clear that a prostitution ring has infiltrated the youth center in Laval. And Lucie Charlebois adds it's being investigated and that they're constantly working on trying to prevent it from happening.
Tonight, opting out because of Zika virus. Airlines try to give employees options other organizations adjust to.
The Zika virus is forcing changes to how Canadians donate blood. I'm Joanne Schnurr. How those changes could impact our blood supply.
A young life hanging in the balance.
Devastating, maybe is a good word. Frightening, surreal.
This Russell family desperate for a live local donor. A guilty plea for drunk driving and killing 3 children and their grandfather.
Every single facet of my life that I've worked on my whole life has been destroyed.
The tragic Mutso case nears an end. And getting ready for the Phenom. An epic battle between the best defenseman in the game and the NHL's youngest, brightest star. Good evening and thanks for being here. We begin with new developments tonight in the worldwide response to the Zika virus. This all comes as Brazil, the center of the outbreak, gets ready for the Summer Olympics upcoming. Here's what's new tonight. Canadian Olympic officials addressing concerns of athletes heading to Rio and new restrictions for returning travelers who must delay any blood donations until any threat of infection has passed. CTV's Katie Griffin starts us off on this one tonight. Hi, Katie.
Hi, Graham. Well, we know that airlines are allowing pregnant women to cancel their trips and get a refund. Now, Canadian Airlines and a number of airlines in the U.S. are allowing flight crew members to be reassigned if they are worried about contracting.
Tonight,
a guilty plea in a drunk driving crash that left 3 children and their grandfather dead. Tonight, what's next for Marco Mutso? And reaction from the family of the victims.
It brings us so much more, I guess, home. than before.
Some startling new data has shown an increase in prescription painkiller abuse in our region. Coming up, we ask health professionals why it's happening and meet some of the people who are helping fight the problem head on.
It's important to treat pain properly, to recognize pain and to treat it, but to do so safely.
Observing Lake Simcoe from the air tonight, a unique ride-along with York Regional Police as officers observe ice conditions from up above.
In all my years up here, I've never seen it so open.
CTV News with Tony Grace.
Good evening. We begin in the Newmarket courts tonight and a guilty plea in a horrible drunk driving crash.
Entering a guilty plea, then leaving on bail.
He is not in any fashion getting special treatment.
4 lives taken. Is our justice two-tiered? Hearing each victim's name read aloud in court.
And those are my babies.
What a devastated mother is saying about the sentencing. And describing his alleged acts of violence.
And we thank these women for coming forward.
Recounting the words of another accuser. CTV News starts now. Marco Muzzo entered 6 pleas of guilty in a Newmarket courtroom today. This is a live look at the courthouse where less than 5 hours ago, Muzzo walked out on bail. Surrounded by his family, his fiancée by his side, Muzzo tasted freedom for the first time since driving drunk and smashing into a minivan on September 27th, killing 3 children and their grandfather. Good evening. Muzzo heard the names of the victims read out loud in court today.
Daniel, Harrison, Millie, and their grandfather, Gary. CTV's crime reporter Tamara Cherry is at the courthouse tonight. Tamara, Muzzo was released on $1 million bail. He had 2 or 3 times the legal limit in his system that day.
Yeah, Michelle, possibly more than 3 times the legal limit of alcohol in his blood that day. Now, as you mentioned, he entered 6 guilty pleas today.
Tonight, a guilty plea in a drunk driving crash that killed 3 kids and their grandfather.
I was afraid to call him what he is, a drunk driver, but now I can say that, and I don't have to be afraid to say that anymore.
Now he's out on bail.
He is not in any fashion getting special treatment. In fact, this is a right enjoyed by anyone.
And the grieving family not ready to forgive. Also, another alleged link to one of Tim Bosma's accused killers, the Millard Air employee who testified he saw Bosma's missing truck at the region of Waterloo Airport. Why he says he waited to tell police. Plus, boycotting the paper.
What they have been printing is biased and unnecessary.
The teachers' union taking issue with a record columnist.
Part of being engaged in the news is to talk about the news, and that's my role.
And how it could play out in classrooms. Free on $1 million bail, Marco Muzzo walked out of the Newmarket courthouse under heavy security this afternoon. His release coming after he pleaded guilty to 6 counts of impaired driving in a crash that killed 4 people north of Toronto last September. But the mother of the 3 children killed says she's not ready to forgive him.
Harrison, Daniel, Milagros, my dad, they can't be brought back. So no, there's nothing he could say.
Good evening. There were tears outside a Newmarket courthouse after the guilty plea was submitted. Inside, new details emerged about the crash that killed 4 and the day Muzzo was taken into custody. CTV's Max Wark joins us with more. Max, Jennifer Neville-Lake says there's no relief in Muzzo's plea.
Nancy, she said she was always afraid to say a drunk driver killed her family. Now she can, but that won't bring back her 3 children.
Tonight, guilty plea. Marco Muzzo awaits sentencing in a horrific impaired driving case.
Harrison, Daniel, Milagros, my dad, they can't be brought back.
Plus, Dam Idea. How one London councillor thinks we should use the broken Springbank Dam.
To avoid decommissioning it or fixing it. So this is the third alternative, is to a conversion.
And love never ends. How volunteers are preserving memories of failing loved ones.
It's really hard, but I know that I'm giving them a gift.
CTV News with Tara Overholt.
Good evening. The confirmation read out in court. The tragedy of how drinking and driving claimed 3 young lives and a grandfather. Although he admitted to killing 4 people.
Tonight, stolen money, tens of thousands taken from local residents. LaSalle police warn about a scam sweeping the nation. Also tonight, illegal slashing. Mature trees are coming down after vandals strike, and safety concerns are raised. And modern lip sync. A dad's hilarious and creative baby videos go viral.
CTV News with Jim Crichton.
Good evening. Jim is off tonight. I'm Sasha Long. A phone scam.
For now, he's a free man.
This was a routine matter. This is not a special treatment matter.
A Toronto area man who pleaded guilty in a crash that killed 4 people is out on bail. Assault with a weapon.
The accused drove his vehicle, hit the pedestrian, and then fled the scene.
Police in North Bay charge a man after a pedestrian was hit. And even though it loses money, Timmins is keeping its evening bus service.
CTV News at 6 with Tony Rima, Irina Moore, and Isaac Cohen.
Good evening. Stunning developments in a Toronto area courtroom today.
Wasteful spending. I'm Jeff Keel. Why throwing away vegetables and doggy doo could soon cost homeowners $100.
Also tonight.
Well, certainly an unusual step.
The unprecedented step being undertaken by the RCMP in the hope of finding a killer.
An extreme cold warning is in effect for parts of northern Manitoba. How cold will it feel and what we can expect here in the south?
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Gord LeClaire and Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Homeowners will soon pay more to have their apple peels and pet waste hauled away.
The city wants to charge homeowners an annual fee to pay for a curbside organics program. The levy would be on top of the one already charged for garbage and recycling collection. With more, here's CTV's Jeff Keel.
Yeah, Jeff, how would this work?
Well, right now, of course, you have one cart for recycling and one for garbage, and one day there will be a third bin.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. Here's what's making headlines in the Parkland region. The doors at LaLoche's community school will remain
tonight. Calls for an independent inquiry into a costly government land deal. Plus, closing arguments wrap up, and soon the jury will decide the GoForce fate. And improving care for those living with MS in Saskatchewan.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News with Dan McIntosh and Heather Anderson.
Good evening, everyone. At nearly $2 billion, the Regina Bypass is the most expensive infrastructure project in the province.
Opponents suggest that we're overpaying for the product, and that could be the case.
Wayne Mantika delves deeper into the land deal with a most unusual.
This is CTV News.
It is Thursday, February 4th. This is CTV Prince Albert's News at noon. Today we'll learn more about homeopathic solutions to the common cold, including a hands-on technique called Bowen therapy. Also, is an RRSP the right investment option for you? We'll find out during Ask the Expert. Right now, we'll find out what's making local news.
Good evening, I'm Jeff Brogstad with your weather update. Kind of an overcast day today, a few patches of sunshine, but
all in all, not a lot in the way of precipitation. We might see a little bit of snow this evening. You can certainly see some of that snow sliding through parts of southwestern Saskatchewan. Let's take a look at our current conditions. Right now, we are looking at minus 12 degrees in Saskatoon. Feels like minus 15 with that light wind out of the north. CTV News begins right now.
Tonight.
The province taking steps to support people living with MS.
This is a great day in Saskatchewan for MS patients.
What does the move actually mean for patients? Putting the brakes on repeat offenders.
Over $1 million in parking tickets. And that's why we're getting very aggressive with the crackdown.
How a Saskatchewan city hopes to get people to pay up. And an out-of-this-world experience on campus.
Live in Saskatoon, this is CTV News.
Good evening. We begin with a move aimed at making life a little easier for people living with multiple sclerosis. Saskatchewan has one of the highest rates of MS in the world. Today, the province announced it is taking steps to improve treatment and services for patients. CTV's Sarah Plowman has more on the plan.
Today on CTV News at 5, recognizing a little lifesaver.
I was thinking, I hope my mom's gonna be okay.
How a Taber kindergarten student saved his mom from a critical situation. Plus, police lay charges after a school bus full of students slams into an SUV. And the Prime Minister addresses energy sector concerns in southern Alberta.
There is a sense of worry, yes, but also a sense of opportunity.
Promising an economic boost while promoting an environmental focus.
CTV News with Alicia Fieldberg.
Good afternoon, thanks for joining us. A 5-year-old Taber kindergarten student is being recognized for his heroic actions. Dane DeGraw is credited with saving his mom's life last December. Terry Vogt joins us from St. Patrick's School in Taber, where Dane and his mother Jolie spoke about the experience today.
Alicia, Jolie was at home with her 5-year-old son when she collapsed from a medical
a comprehensive study on causes of cancer.
We now know how we can help prevent cancer right here in Alberta.
In fact, the study shows nearly half of all cancers can be prevented. Fast-tracked infrastructure dollars from Ottawa.
The federal government has told us that they want projects that we can give them right away.
The question is, what local projects are ready?
The key is I can't build an interchange like that in 1 year.
City crews quiet on the snow plowing front take aim at icy residential streets.
We've never had a sander down here, so I'm quite surprised to see a sander.
And the local debate on youth and work ethic.
It's like you ask somebody to do something and, oh yeah, I'll get to it, give me a minute. It's like, yeah, no, buddy, put the phone down and do it.
Sparked by a maritime restaurant owner who says she's closing because she can't find good young workers.
I'm meteorologist Josh Kloss. Well, this is it. This was the cool snap. By the time you wake up tomorrow morning, it is done. Daytime highs back on the positive side for the next few days. Details at 6:13.
Live from Edmonton, CTV News with Daryl McIntyre.
Good evening. Sobering results, but also cause for hope, arising out of a new study on the causes of cancer in Alberta. On this World Cancer Day, evidence that nearly half of the new cancer cases in our province could be prevented. Susan Amrangan here now with all the details of what's being called a significant step forward in cancer prevention. Susan.
Daryl, the study confirms what many have suspected. Lifestyle choices can either increase or decrease the risk.
And now your latest news for Red Deer in central Alberta. RCMP in the area say there have been several vehicles stolen in the past week.
From pipelines to profits, a big agenda for the PM in Calgary. So what does the industry's top brass make of Trudeau's visit? Plus, missing something?
It is one of the largest seizures that we've had in the city of Calgary.
Details on a massive haul of stolen goods. And questions about Rio.
I've been wrestling for 13 years now, and I've wanted to go to the Olympics for so long.
Is the threat of Zika virus enough to keep some Canadian athletes from following their dream?
Local, live, and breaking. CTV News with Tara Nelson.
Hello and thank you for joining us. The Prime Minister came to town today. Justin Trudeau appears to be trying to mend some fences after a pipeline controversy pitted Western Canada against East.
Killer who's a high risk to reoffend.
She tortured and killed her family's pet cat and pet dog.
Kayla Bork asks a Vancouver judge to let her out.
Also tonight, a routine flight, but not long after takeoff.
I got sick after drinking that water.
Could a Port Moody woman's airline horror story happen to you?
And
Miss Pinkham?
Yes, Chad?
Nice sweater.
Growing outrage over an SFU video.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Many call demeaning and sexist.
This is CTV News with Tamara Taggart and Mike Killeen.
Good evening. A Vancouver judge has just given a high-risk offender permission to make unescorted trips into the community.
Kayla Bork has been serving time for abusing and killing animals, and as Mi Jung Lee reports, she's long been considered a high risk to commit more.
An emergency has been reported for the building. Please shelter in place and wait for further instructions.
Students take cover at VIU as police storm the campus looking for a gunman.
Everyone was kind of freaked out.
Not in my neighborhood. Victoria homeowners threaten to block new homeless housing.
I'll file an injunction with the court as quickly as possible.
We've been failed completely.
Also tonight.
There's a huge intolerance for impaired driving in this day and age.
But police say one age group just isn't getting it.
CTV News at 6 with Andrew Johnson.
Good evening. They're the kind of images you don't expect to see on Vancouver Island. Students hiding under desks, fearing a gunman is roaming their campus. That is what played out at Vancouver Island University this morning. In the end, no one was hurt, and technology played a major role in the